Hello everyone and welcome back to Chill English Channel. I'm Sophia and I'm really happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Jake. Wherever you're listening from, maybe at home, on your way to work, or relaxing somewhere quiet, we hope you can enjoy this conversation with us.
Today we're talking about something that every human being experiences: fear.
Fear.
Yes, we're going to talk about how to face your fears, why fear can become so powerful, and what we can do when it starts controlling our choices.
And we'll explore all of this through clear, natural English that's useful for B1 to B2 learners.
As always, you don't need to understand every word perfectly. Relax, follow the conversation, and notice expressions that are useful to you.
And before we go deeper, let's start with a question.
Think about this while you listen. What is something you would love to do if you weren't afraid?
That's a big question.
It is. Maybe you would speak English with strangers without worrying about mistakes.
Maybe you would apply for a better job, travel somewhere alone, start a business, or finally tell someone how you really feel.
Sometimes fear protects us from real danger, and that's important.
If you see a large, angry dog running towards you, you probably don't need a motivational speech.
Exactly. You need some distance.
Quickly.
But many of our everyday fears are different. There isn't necessarily a real danger in front of us.
We might be afraid of failure, rejection, embarrassment, criticism, or uncertainty.
And those fears can quietly influence our decisions. Sophia, is there something you used to be really afraid of? Public speaking.
Really? You seem comfortable talking now.
Now, yes, but when I was younger, speaking in front of a group made me extremely nervous.
What happened when you had to do it?
My heart would beat faster, my hands would feel cold, and suddenly I would forget sentences that I had practiced many times.
That sounds familiar.
The strange thing was that I knew I wasn't actually in danger.
Nobody in the audience was planning to attack you.
Hopefully not. But my body reacted as if something dangerous was happening.
That's one interesting thing about fear. It isn't only a thought. We can feel it physically.
Exactly. Your heart beats faster, your breathing changes, your muscles become tense.
And when those physical feelings begin, they can make your thoughts even more negative.
You think, everyone can see I'm nervous.
Then, I'm going to make a mistake.
Then, this is going to be a disaster.
And suddenly, you've created an entire terrible future in your mind before anything has actually happened.
I was very good at that.
I think most of us are sometimes.
So, for a long time, I tried to avoid public speaking whenever possible.
And avoiding it probably made you feel better.
Immediately, yes. If I found a way not to speak, I felt relieved.
Relieved means you stop feeling worried because something difficult or unpleasant has been avoided or finished.
But there was a problem. Every time I avoided speaking, I was teaching myself that speaking in public really was something I couldn't handle.
That's an important point. Avoiding fear can make us comfortable today while making the fear stronger tomorrow.
Exactly. I wasn't giving myself a chance to discover that maybe I could handle it.
So what changed?
I eventually realized that waiting for my fear to disappear wasn't working.
You were waiting to feel confident first.
Yes, I thought confident people did things because they weren't afraid.
But that's not always true.
Not at all. Often people become confident because they've done something while they were afraid.
That's a very different way of looking at courage.
Yes, courage doesn't necessarily mean having no fear.
It means being afraid and still choosing to move forward when something matters to you.
So I started very small. I didn't suddenly volunteer to speak in front of 500 people.
Probably a good decision.
I started by speaking more in small groups.
Something uncomfortable but manageable.
Exactly. Then I gave short presentations. Each time I still felt nervous, but I slowly became more familiar with the feeling.
And I imagine you discovered something important.
I discovered that being nervous didn't mean I couldn't do it.
That's powerful because we often treat fear like a stop sign.
We feel fear and immediately think, I shouldn't do this.
But sometimes fear isn't a stop sign. Sometimes it's simply a sign that you're entering unfamiliar territory.
And unfamiliar doesn't automatically mean dangerous.
Think about someone learning English. They may understand English well, but feel terrified of having a real conversation.
They're afraid of forgetting words or saying something incorrectly.
Maybe they're worried that another person will judge them,
So they wait until their English is good enough.
which can become a very long wait.
Because confidence usually needs experience, and experience requires us to participate.
So if fear keeps you from practicing, it also keeps you from collecting evidence that you can handle the situation.
And this is where facing fear begins.
Not by forcing yourself to become fearless, but by learning that fear can be present without making every decision for you.
And once you understand that, you can start changing your relationship with fear instead of simply trying to escape from it.
I like that idea, because trying to eliminate fear completely can create even more pressure.
Exactly. You feel nervous, and then you become frustrated because you're nervous.
So now you're afraid and annoyed with yourself at the same time.
Not a very relaxing combination.
Definitely not. So what can we actually do when we're afraid of something?
One helpful step is to name the fear clearly.
Instead of just saying, I'm scared.
Yes, ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid will happen?
Let's use speaking English as an example.
You might say, I'm afraid I'll make a grammar mistake.
Or, I'm afraid I won't understand the other person.
Or maybe the deeper fear is, I'm afraid they'll think I'm stupid.
And once the fear becomes specific, it's easier to examine it.
You can ask, how likely is this to happen? And if it does happen, could I handle it?
That's important because our imagination often creates the worst possible result.
Yes, suppose you forget an English word during a conversation.
Your fear might tell you that the whole conversation will become an embarrassing disaster.
But what would probably happen in real life?
You could describe the word differently, ask for help, or simply say, sorry, I forgot the word.
And then the conversation continues. Nobody calls the International English Police.
Thankfully, they were very busy today.
Good. I'm safe for another episode.
This brings us to another useful idea. Separate discomfort from danger.
Those two things can feel similar, but they aren't always the same.
Giving a presentation might be uncomfortable. Asking someone for help might be uncomfortable.
Going to an event where you don't know anyone can feel uncomfortable too.
But discomfort doesn't automatically mean something is dangerous.
And if we always run away from discomfort, our world can slowly become smaller. We stop trying new things because staying with what we know feels safer.
I experienced this when I first started traveling alone.
Were you afraid?
Definitely. Before my first solo trip, I imagined about 50 things going wrong.
Only 50.
I was trying to stay positive.
What worried you most?
Getting lost. I kept imagining myself standing somewhere with no idea where to go.
And did you get lost?
Yes.
Oh.
Very quickly, actually. But something interesting happened. I asked someone for directions, checked my map, and found my way.
So the thing you were afraid of actually happened.
Yes, but it wasn't the disaster I had imagined.
That's a great example, because sometimes facing fear isn't about proving that nothing bad will happen.
It's about discovering that you can respond when something doesn't go according to plan.
That creates a different kind of confidence.
You're not saying everything will be perfect.
You're saying, even if something goes wrong, I'll try to deal with it.
And that's much more realistic.
Another helpful strategy is breaking a fear into smaller steps.
We talked about this with my public speaking fear, too.
Right, if speaking to 50 people terrifies you, don't necessarily begin with 50 people.
Start by sharing an idea with 2 or 3 people.
Then maybe ask a question during a meeting.
Later, give a short presentation to a small group.
Each step gives your brain a chance to become familiar with the experience.
And familiar things often feel less frightening.
The same method can work with English. If you're afraid of speaking with strangers, start by speaking English alone.
Then practice with someone you trust.
After that, maybe have a short conversation with someone new.
You don't need to jump from complete silence to a 30-minute conversation.
Small steps still count as facing your fear.
And after each step, notice what actually happened instead of only focusing on what went wrong.
You might realize, I was nervous, but I finished.
Or, I made mistakes, but the other person understood me.
Those experiences slowly build evidence that fear isn't always telling you the full truth.
There's also something else we need to discuss: fear of failure.
That's a big one because it can stop people before they even begin.
Sometimes we think failing at something means we are a failure as a person.
But those are completely different ideas. A failed attempt is an event. It isn't your identity.
You can apply for a job and not get it.
You can start a project and discover that your first idea doesn't work.
You can speak English and make 10 mistakes in 5 minutes.
Possibly a personal record.
And you can still learn something from the experience.
When failure becomes information instead of a final judgment, trying becomes less frightening.
And little by little, fear stops being a wall in front of you and becomes something you can learn to move through.
And learning to move through fear doesn't mean you suddenly become comfortable with everything.
Sometimes you take a brave step and your hands are still shaking while you do it.
That's why I think we need to stop waiting for the perfect emotional moment.
You mean that moment when we feel completely confident, energetic, prepared, and fearless?
Yes, that magical moment that may never arrive.
I've been waiting for it for years.
Fear often says, do it later, when you feel ready.
But sometimes feeling ready comes after taking action.
Imagine you've wanted to apply for a new job, but you're afraid you're not qualified enough.
You keep looking at the application, thinking about it, and finding reasons to wait.
Eventually, you could ask yourself, what is the smallest brave action I can take today?
Maybe you don't need to send the application immediately.
Maybe today's step is updating your resume.
Tomorrow, you could read the job description carefully.
And after that, you might finally apply.
This is something I really like. Courage can be small.
Absolutely. We often imagine courage as something dramatic.
Like climbing a mountain during a storm.
Jake, please don't do that to prove you're courageous.
Fine, I'll update my resume instead.
Much safer. But courage can be making a phone call you've been avoiding.
It can be asking a question when you're worried it sounds silly.
It can be saying no when you usually say yes because you don't want to disappoint someone.
Or speaking English even when your voice isn't as confident as you want it to be.
Another thing that helps is remembering why you want to face a particular fear.
Because not every fear needs to become a personal challenge.
Exactly. You don't have to do frightening things just to prove something.
But if fear is standing between you and something important, your reason can give you motivation.
Maybe you're afraid of speaking English, but you want to study abroad.
Maybe you're afraid of changing careers, but your current work makes you unhappy.
Maybe you're afraid of meeting new people, but you want deeper friendships.
Your reason gives the uncomfortable step a purpose.
And on difficult days, you can remind yourself, I'm not doing this because I enjoy feeling afraid.
I'm doing it because something important is on the other side of this fear.
Now let's review some useful vocabulary from our conversation.
The first word is avoid.
To avoid something means to stay away from it or prevent yourself from experiencing it.
For example, I used to avoid speaking English because I was afraid of making mistakes.
Another useful word is relieved.
Relieved means feeling better because something stressful or worrying has ended or been avoided.
We also used the word discomfort.
Discomfort is an unpleasant or uncomfortable feeling, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're in danger.
Another important word is courage.
Courage is the ability to do something difficult even when you feel afraid.
And we talked about uncertainty.
Uncertainty means not knowing exactly what will happen.
Many fears become stronger when the future is uncertain.
Finally, we use the word manageable.
If something is manageable, it is difficult but still possible to deal with.
That's why breaking a big fear into manageable steps can be so helpful.
Before we finish, think again about the question from the beginning.
What is something you would love to do if you weren't afraid?
Now ask yourself one more question. What is one small step you could take even with the fear still there?
Maybe it's sending a message, making a phone call, practicing English for 5 minutes, or asking someone for help.
You don't need to defeat your biggest fear today.
You only need to stop giving fear complete control over your decisions.
And remember, being afraid doesn't automatically mean you're weak or incapable. Sometimes fear simply means you're doing something new, uncertain, or important to you.
If you'd like to practice your English, share your answer in the comments. You can write, "One fear I want to face is," and then tell us one small step you can take.
Thank you for spending this time with us on Chill English Channel.
We hope this conversation helped you practice your English and think differently about the fears in your own life.
If you enjoyed the episode, subscribe to Chill English Channel, like the video, and share it with another English learner.
Keep practicing, keep taking small, brave steps, and remember that courage can exist at the same time as fear. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon on Chill English Channel.